This is the Oregon Fan Show on Fan Media Network.
Welcome into the latest and greatest episode of the Oregon Fan Media Show on the Fan Media Network, alongside Juwaan Williams and Tyler Peterson. I'm TJ Brassel, and we're going to wrap up basketball. With basketball season just ending, we're going to wrap that up. It's going to be the majority of this episode, but before we get into that, I didn't want people to think we're forgetting about all of the other sports, all of the greatness that is going on at Oregon as of right now. So just to kind of recap a couple of things and give some shout outs. Oregon Track and Field just opened up the gorgeous brand new Hayward Field this past weekend with an amazing meet. It was great to see that happening and see track and field back in Eugene. We also have a bunch of teams ranked in the top 25 with track and field. Volleyball is heading to the NCAA tournament right now. Softball, baseball, soccer's been having a great year. Women's tennis just beat 25 ranked Stanford. So a lot of greatness coming on. If I missed any other sports, I apologize. Please don't hate me. We got a limited time. We're just trying to get through everything here. But that being said, we're calling it the spring sports, but it's really like the all sports season because the fall sports are started playing in the spring and they're kind of the spring sports. So it's kind of all in one at the moment. With that being said, as I mentioned off the top, basketball season is now officially done. Ducks have been done for about a week or so now, and that means we are now looking forward to next season. And there's a lot of things going on with the teams right now. But for Juwaan and Ty, what are your guys' expectations, and what are you looking forward to most for next season for both the men's and women's?
I'd say for the women's specifically, I'm just looking for a summer of health. And, the next iteration of the Twin Towers of Sabali and Prince, and as well as some much needed experience from the young guards. You have we missed out on our all-star point guard in the tournament, and she definitely could have helped in the Louisville game. But yeah, just rest and relaxation for the women, and then for the men's side, just trying to see what Dana has up his sleeve. Around this time of year, especially with COVID, everyone has another year of eligibility. So that extra year could definitely help in some areas, whether it's him getting his illustrious transfers or us keeping some great talent in Eugene.
I think the expectations are very clear. These are two great teams, and I think at minimum it is win the Pac-12 championship again and make it to the Sweet 16. I think we've seen both teams are more than capable of doing so, and there's no reason that the expectation should be lowered at all going into next season.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it kind of feels like the expectation for each team is like, all right, Sweet 16 at least, and then we'll go from there. I mean, like Dana's made it for the last 5 years, and Kelly's made it to Sweet 16, I think, the last 5 seasons. I'm pretty sure.
And you know what? That's just a great compliment to both coaches who recruit extremely well,
absolutely,
who use the transfer portal extremely well. And think about year after year, the talent the men's team has lost between guys like Bol, between guys like Chris Boucher, between guys like the other guy the Warriors drafted, who I can't think of right
Jordan
now.
Bell.
Jordan Bell, thank you very much.
Sorry, you were on the campus at that time, so we'll cut you some slack.
You watch these guys go to the draft and you think, oh, well, there go our best players. This year, there goes Duarte. But you know what? Somebody else is going to be there next season to fill that spot. And same with the women's team.
Absolutely. And especially it appears Will Richardson is coming back for next year. And that is big, especially he was big time down the stretch. And he's a big time guard. He was just hurt for the beginning of a lot of the year. But when you're talking, you just mentioned like losing people. I mean, that kind of fits in to very much of the narrative that Oregon men's basketball is going through right now. Coach Stubblefield, fantastic. Congratulations, coach, for just getting the head coaching job at DePaul. But that's a big loss for the Ducks. He was a big recruiter, really great coach. He's now headed to DePaul. Chandler Lawson has entered the transfer portal. His brother, Oregon just he asked for a release out of his national letter of intent, which they granted. But he was a 4-star and he is now gone. It looks like Jalen Terry might be entering the transfer portal. So there's a lot of kind of influx for the Ducks, which as you mentioned, like they're used to. But I mean, Juan, like what what do you think this does for it? It looked like we like had pieces going into this next year, and now it's kind of like, okay, what are we gonna do?
I believe it's the next challenge for the master of puzzle pieces himself, Dana Altman. And it's more so of what are we left with at the end of the day? I appreciate that he's letting these kids have freedom of movement with their futures. It's not uncommon that you see coaches block student athletes from their letter of intent, or block them from going elsewhere. So it's great. But yeah, you're losing a key person in your front office with Coach Stubblefield leaving and going to greener pastures with DePaul. But now it's going to be placed on Dana's back. Okay, you have pieces in place. Let's see what we can do with those that are still here and what we can do in the transfer portal. I believe this summer will probably be the biggest transferring of student athletes from place to place that we've ever seen in college sports since the transfer portal came about.
I agree. I actually hadn't thought about it, Juwaan, but you're absolutely right. With so many guys getting that extra COVID year, we're going to have rosters that are just overpacked. And so a lot of guys are been looking to get a starting job somewhere else in college. But let me ask you guys this question. I was thinking about this sort of last week. Bill Self got himself what is termed as a lifetime contract from Kansas. And what that means is, I believe it's a 5-year extension that automatically renews every year. So he's basically like Pope now there. He can just retire when he wants, but he's there until he's done. My question is to you, do you think either Dan Altman or Kelly Graves are worthy of that kind of contract? Because there's certainly have the aura of guys who are going to be at Oregon a long time. But do you think they deserve that kind of same treatment?
I would say Dana does right now, just based off of his success. He's been there 11 years now, and he's had a consistency of success. Like Bill Self in his days at Kansas, you can never count Bill Self out of a Big 12 championship at all. He finds some way to get some sliver of that championship. So it's all about success and what you do for the program. I feel that Dana has done pretty well for the program, as well as the city of Oregon, as well as the community, and what he does, on and off the court. I feel like if he brings home a national championship, that will probably be the big ticker in that deal. If he brings it home, then we can start having lifetime contract talk. But until then, we have to simmer that. And then for Kelly, I'd say too early to show. He's had great success. Don't get me wrong. He's brought this women's team to promise up there at the national level with the greats. But I just feel like it's 4 or 5 years. Let's see if this can be sustained excellence, and then we can talk. And as well, don't get me wrong, if he brings home a 2020 national championship, then totally different story. Then we're like, okay, let's get this man a statue. Then we're cooking with some grease. But until that day, I can't sign off on it.
Yeah, like I feel like, especially Dana, like I feel like he kind of has one without having one at the moment. Like, I don't know if they're necessarily going to be like, hey, you have a lifetime contract. But at the same time, like, it doesn't feel like Dana's going anywhere unless there's some like big like meltdown over the next like 3-4 years, which like I really don't see happening. It just kind of feels like he does, or like he kind of has one. And kind of similar to Coach Graves. I mean, I feel like he kind of has one as well. Like Juan was pointing out, like still have some work to do. It's kind of like a race to like who gets a natty first. Like whoever gets the natty first, like you get the lifetime contract. Like that's what it kind of feels like. And I'm gonna throw Coach Cristobal in there as well. Like who gets the natty, boom, you're set to go. Like that's because it like the culture all three of those coaches are creating at Oregon, Cristobal is creating because he's still super early at Oregon, but Dana had what the culture he has created, and then the culture that Kelly has created and is kind of currently still creating. Like everyone likes that culture. It's a culture of like, it's no BS. Like, you know what you're getting, but everyone's grinding out. They're working really hard and they're succeeding at really, really high levels. Have they gotten that natty yet? No. Will they get that natty? Like, they're trending towards it. Women's should have gotten an natty last year. Like, let's just, we know that's the thing. Yes, they would have had to play like a Baylor or a South Carolina, and that would have been close. I'm saying there's no doubt in my mind that they would have won a national championship. There's no doubt in my mind Sabrina would not have let them lose. She wouldn't have let them lose. Words are hard.
Oh, good. So you're saying that Robert Johnson has, he wins the outdoor national championship this year. He can walk into the AD's office and say, "Hey, I've brought you 31, 32 now. We might need to talk."
See, here's my thing is, like I said, I don't know if Oregon's the type of school to ever be like, here's a lifetime contract, because like also Bill Self, he's been at Kansas for, I feel like, my lifetime. Like, he's been at Kansas for forever. So it's like, here's your lifetime contract, but they also know like how much longer are you going to be here? Are you kind of getting like tired of coaching? Are you seeing kind of the end of the tunnel and you're like, all right, I'm going to be here 5 more years. And they're like, cool, here's lifetime contract. Like, here's it where it is, where it's not necessarily like, I feel like Oregon is always going to make sure they have all their bases covered. Like, Rob Mullins is too smart to corner himself into something that could end up biting him later on down the line.
I buy Dana because, I think every year he's been there, the team has won at least 20 games. And I buy Kelly as well. I don't really buy Cristobal. Number one, it's just too soon. I don't know that you go out there and you got to go out there and have better results. You can't lose to Oregon State, fog or no fog. You got to get that one done.
Oh, I'm saying Cristobal. I'm saying, like, if he goes out, if they go out this next football season and win a natty, like, that, without saying you have a lifetime contract, like, his job security is like, there's construction workers in Eugene and Mario Cristobal. Or because the construction workers in Eugene, I think, have the best job security in the world, because something's always being built on that campus. But next to that, the first coach to win a natty in basketball or football, like, obviously, like, essentially outside of Coach Johnson, is kind of on that same level. And like, Juan, I don't know if Coach Johnson walks in there and says, "I want a lifetime contract," like, I don't know if they're giving him a lifetime contract, but they're going to be like, "Coach, you know what? Like you're good. You're not in jeopardy of anything here. Like, it's okay."
I'll just say one last thing on that. I can see Dana and Kelly having no interest in anywhere else. I can see Cristobal leaving of his own volition at some point. He just feels like such a Eugene guy. Like, he's not a big, like, he's very family oriented. He's not like a big, yes, I know he played at Miami, but like, he's not a big, like, flashing lights. Like, he was an offensive lineman. He's not the me, look at me kind of guy. He's like, he gives and for other people to succeed. Like, maybe I'm completely off base here, but like, that's what it feels like to me. I mean, I don't know if that means college. I don't know if that means NFL. I think, though, that there's a better chance of him finding something that he cannot pass up versus Dana or Kelly, who basically have their programs the way they want them, and nothing at the moment looks like anything's ever going to change that.
That's fair. That's very fair. And I guess the old adage of time will tell is really the only thing that can apply here. But I just want to reiterate the breaking news that happened earlier in the show via Juwaan and Tyler backing him up, that this summer will be the biggest transfer summer in NCAA history. I think you're absolutely correct, but I just wanted to know that you all heard it here first. So with that being said, thank you for watching our show. We will see you next time on the Oregon Fan Media Show.
To host a fan show or appear as a fan on a fan show, simply create a profile on Fan Media's iOS app or website. Select your teams and make a short intro video on your phone. Show hosts, reporters, former players, and superfans can use our Get Verified feature and make an intro video as well, and our mobile newsroom staff will reach out.